This sums it up here. So, we saw this post, obviously somebody's dog, I don't even know exactly who this is, to be honest, they said their dog was named CC after Caitlin Clark. Caitlin's response, both are welcome courtside this year. That's one of those things. And by the way, like, people like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese tend to be calculated in quite a lot of things they say.
Nobody is discussing Caitlin Clark's recent violation of the most important rule in sports labor talks. The WNBA Players Association is threatening to blow up the entire 2026 season over a 700% wage increase, but Clark's casual 5-word post changed everything. This is not an error. This is a well-thought-out move that reveals the biggest falsehood in women's basketball at the moment. They don't want you to know this. The actual influential parties involved in these CBA talks are not seated at the table. The negotiating committee does not include them. The demands are not coming from the union officials. Caitlin Clark is the most significant participant in the CBA discussions. Forget about it. Angel Reese is the second most significant. Thirdly, Sabrina Ionescu. A Wilson comes in fourth. Paige Beckers, who hasn't even participated in a single WNBA game, comes in fifth. The league's future is in the hands of these 5 ladies. And whether the union likes it or not, they just informed you that the season is underway. But hold on, this game has a 6th player. Furthermore, it isn't even a player. It's Nike. A sizable portion of the WNBA is owned by the swoosh. They have put more money in Caitlin Clark than the majority of franchises. You haven't been paying attention if you believe Nike will allow a labor conflict to ruin their golden goose. This is business chess. Additionally, the Players Association recently discovered that they are not even on the board. Thus, this is what took place. A fan shared a post about their dog. Adorable tail. CC is the name of the dog. Obviously named after Caitlin Clark. A good time on the internet, huh? Incorrect. Every bargaining room in the league was rocked by Clark's 6-word response. Translation: both are welcome courtside this year. Finish the quote. Not if there is a season this year. I hope not to play this year. Deal completed, guaranteed. Prepare it. The 2026 season is in progress. Let me stop you there before you claim that this is merely a lighthearted social media post. Caitlin Clark no longer engages in informal activities. She is calculated in everything she says. Each post has a purpose. Her brand is managed by a whole crew. Do you believe she unintentionally revealed that the season is in progress? Please. Her fans were not the intended audience for this message. It was the table of negotiations. This week, Angel Reese followed suit. She was discussing her main objectives for the forthcoming season. Not if a season exists, not in anticipation of one. She is discussing winning games, qualifying for the playoffs, and turning the Chicago Sky into a contender. She speaks as though it were inevitable, like the season is assured in the end. And you know what? It is for her. For entirely different reasons, these 2 women are the league's most significant players. Clark provides the mainstream crossover appeal, sponsorships, and ratings. Rhea adds the drama, the competition, and the controversy. They make up the full product when combined. You were just told the same thing by each of them. In 2026, the WNBA season will take place. Why, therefore, does the Players Association continue to act as though they have nuclear options? Let's discuss the 97% strike authorization vote. It sounds scary, doesn't it? It sounds like unity. It seems like everyone in the league is prepared to leave. This is the reality check that no one wants to hear, though. That vote has no significance at all. Nothing. The majority of players, 97%, did not vote to strike. They decided to authorize the negotiating group to threaten a strike in the event that talks fail. Significant difference. Consider it from the viewpoint of a player. Hey, we need you to authorize us to use the strike as leverage if things go south. The union approaches you. What will you say? No. Will you be the only player to cross ranks? Will you be the antagonist that doesn't stand by your teammates? Not, of course. You cast a yes vote. You exhibit unity. You vote yes because that's what you're doing, even if you're afraid of losing your job and your entire brand depends on playing basketball this year. Intended to do. Let's be honest, though. Would it matter if the result of that vote was 60% rather than 97%?
No.
Because the players' only leverage is the possibility of a strike. The Players Association would have to give in right away if half of the league voted against it. The league would simply proceed. Thus, each player casts a yes vote. It's survival, not bravery. It is the only way to receive a wage increase of 700% rather than 300%. And let's not lose sight of the real topic at hand. A salary boost of 700%. More money will be given to the players. Significantly more money. They're aware of it. The league is aware of this. Nike is aware of this. All of this negotiating is merely theatrical. It concerns the amount of extra money and the breakdown. However, the notion that this season won't occur is a lie. And it was just called by Caitlin Clark. This is where things start to become pretty interesting. According to reports, Nike intends to unveil Caitlin Clark's signature shoe during a Super Bowl advertisement. The largest day of the year for advertising. February 9th, 2026 is that date. Do you really believe Nike would spend millions of dollars on a Super Bowl commercial for a shoe that promotes a player in a league that might not even have a season?
Come on.
Nike is aware of something that the Players Association is feigning ignorance of. The season is set in stone. Additionally, if Caitlin Clark is not selected by Team USA, Nike may immediately withdraw their full funding for the forthcoming national team camp in March. That is the amount of money we are discussing. Clark currently possesses that type of authority. She is no longer merely a player. She is a billion-dollar enterprise. Additionally, companies don't bargain. They set the terms. Let's delve farther. Why is any of this important? Due to the Players Association's attempt to incite fear. They are attempting to frighten supporters into believing that the season might not take place. The league is therefore under pressure to give in to demands. However, that anxiety disappears when the two most significant players in the league casually post about courtside seats and playoff objectives. Fans are no longer concerned. Sponsors are no longer concerned. Additionally, the union loses all of its power when no one is concerned. This is a really clever tactic from Clark and Ree. The outcome is the same whether or not they coordinated this. By merely acting as though the season is a done deal, they are undermining the union's entire negotiation stance. And you know what? They are most likely correct since, in the end, the Players Association's legacy cannot be ruining the sport upon which they have built their careers. Imagine being the team that ended the most successful season in WNBA history. Imagine being the cause of Angel, Paige Bickers, and Caitlin Clark. In 2026, Reese and Angel Wilson are not basketball players. Nobody desires that legacy. Additionally, the timing of this is quite important. Unrivaled just finished their season. Not very good viewership figures. Every game has about 30,000 viewers on average. The only player that routinely draws attention is Paige Bickers. And unless she's playing, even those games have trouble reaching 1,000 spectators. This week, Natasha Cloud stated that Unrivaled could play all year round without the WNBA. Bold assertion. The timing was awful. Because such figures demonstrate the complete opposite. The WNBA needs Unrivaled far more than Unrivaled needs the WNBA. When your primary league is selling and your backup plan is drawing 1,000 viewers, you have no leverage in arenas with Caitlin Clark. You're delusional. The Players Association is avoiding this difficult reality. The WNBA cannot be replaced. The product cannot be substituted. The rivalries, the history, and the stakes are what fans want. They prefer Clark over Reese. They desire championship runs and playoff races. In a Miami warehouse, they do not want a pretentious pickup league. Let's now deal with the big issue. Some will argue that Angel Ree's stats from the previous season were meaningless for a poor squad. They weren't basketball fans. Last year, Ree was outstanding. During a 10-game run in the middle of the season, she averaged 17 points, 15 assists, and 6 rebounds. In those games, the Chicago Sky went 5-5. Yes, the sample size is modest, but that's a real star putting up enormous numbers on both ends of the floor. Additionally, others try to write off Unrivaled as unimportant and unreal basketball.
All right.
However, It counts when Aaliyah Boston uses that league to improve their strength, speed, and defense. It is transferable. That counts when Angel Ree is honing her skills against WNBA opponents. Ree performed like a seasoned veteran in the first 4 games of the previous campaign. She adjusted. She was in charge. She demonstrated her belonging. And going into 2026, she will have a stronger team. If the season occurs, which this is the bit that should scare the Players Association, will. The primary parties involved in this negotiation have similar goals in mind. Nike wants the season to take place. The league wants the season to take place. The season is what the fans desire to happen. Additionally, the performers themselves want the season to take place. Who is obstructing the path, then? A union that believes it has leverage that it does not, a negotiating committee that is overplaying their hand, and a number of role players who will receive a huge pay increase regardless of the outcome. This is the actual situation. Because they must, the players will demonstrate solidarity. There must be a strike threat, or they will not be compensated. Raise in any way. However, that threat is unfounded. It's theater. It's a strategy for bargaining. Furthermore, that strategy becomes completely ineffective when the league's best stars openly act as though the season is assured. The cards are on the table, the Players Association is holding 2 threes, and the bluff has been called. What comes next, then? Eventually, an agreement will be reached between the players and the league. The players will receive a significant raise in compensation. The 2026 season will be the largest in WNBA history, and everyone will declare victory. Caitlin Clark is going to be well. It will be Paige Bucker's first appearance. This will be Angel Reese's greatest team ever. AJ Wilson will maintain her supremacy. Ionescu Sabrina will be in her peak. And arenas will be packed with fans to observe everything as it happens. However, I want you to consider this question.
What?
What does it say about the players? Connection between their 2 biggest stars simply undercut their entire strategy for negotiations? What does it say about the union's authority when Nike has greater control over the season than the players themselves? What does it say on the league's future when corporate objectives are more in line with player interest compared to the unions? Solidarity is no longer an issue. Survival is at issue here. Additionally, the players, who are most important, just told you exactly how this tale concludes. The time of year is taking place. Deals will be completed. Moreover, Caitlin Clark and a dog named CC just gave anyone who didn't think so a reality check. In 2026, the WNBA will set new records. Records for attendance, viewership, and income are all the result of the league stars' refusal to allow a labor conflict to derail their momentum. You cannot dispute the outcomes, regardless of your agreement with their methods. It's the season. Make a reservation. Place a wager on it. Caitlin Clark recently verified it, so adjust your itinerary accordingly. It was just confirmed by Angel Reese, and it will become official with the Nike Super Bowl commercial. The only unanswered question is whether the Players Association will continue to act as though they had power or accept reality. They don't really own anything, that I'm betting on reality. In the end, 700% wage increases don't come easily. Additionally, you eventually have to give in while negotiating from a position of weakness while feigning power. On the table are the cards. Whether you like it or not, the 2026 WNBA season has begun. The bluff has been called.